Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on a Saturday morning, a really nice Saturday morning. Again, it's one of those days, I've said it really all week long. If you're headed up here today, you have picked a gorgeous day to come on up to the track. If you can't make it, obviously go over to the Clubhouse Racebook or play at home and watch us on TV throughout the afternoon. But it is a gorgeous day here at Saratoga with some nice stakes action as well, highlighted by the Sword Dancer. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Howard Kravitz will join us from the HHH Racing Podcast. We'll talk some of the action here today. Also, we'll take a look at the Arlington Million with Howard coming up. Before that, Kali Francois, her regular Saturday spot. She went out and did a couple of tape pieces this week, one with an Appleby assistant, and also had a tape piece with Dylan Davis. So we'll get to that a little bit later on as well. But happy to start the show with our friend Harry Rice, longtime fixture up here, a valet on the NYRA circuit for quite a while. And yesterday's third race was the good luck to Harry Rice retirement, and it was quite a raucous situation. Harry, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you. And again, I pulled up a little shot from the program yesterday. The third race was named in your honor. Chad Brown won the race. He came in the winner's circle. He said to you, when I saw it was your race, I changed the instructions, and he came up with a winner. And then I pulled up some video, thanks to the folks at Saratoga Live. I pulled up some video there. The winner's circle was nuts. It was I was down there, media was down there, but obviously the other valets, jockeys, horsemen, and then you got a little national TV coverage with Maggie, certainly. It was crazy, and they're chanting your name. Talk a little bit about the situation yesterday after the race name for you.
It was so nice. I appreciate NYRA doing it and all that. And I had so many friends from up here, from Staten Island where I live. I had cousins from all over. So there might have been 100 people in the winner's circle, and I have some good friends from up here. I have my friend Tom Quartel. We've been friends for 50 years. And he was there. He started the chant. But it was such a nice time.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they appreciate, as I told people yesterday, the racetrack is not only our livelihood, but it's our lives. And, people have to understand that.
Yeah. And again, I was talking to you before. You retired actually a couple of months ago in April.
Yeah, in April. I retired.
But clearly there was going to be something planned for up here because you are a fixture, and it's been so much fun over the years to shoot the breeze with you and whatnot. And again, it was a lot of fun yesterday. You've been in town a few times already. Talked you up in the press box a few times, and you said when you sat down, you said still miss the people.
Oh, the people are the key here. I mean, it's so nice, and especially when you come, like in the beginning of the meet, you start walking around looking for the people that sit in the same seats every year. All the old, I guess I'm becoming an old timer, but all the old timers, and it's so nice, all the restaurants up here, and it's the sport of horse racing. I mean, the rest of the year, it's almost like a business, but here, people enjoy the sport. The steeplechase, which is a great, Bill Gallo does such a great job. So I look forward to it.
So, I've been doing anything in retirement?
Oh, I 10 bar in a nice little place on Staten Island, Lee's Tavern.
And I was
Excellent
reading
pizza.
I was reading good pizzas, so keep that in mind. Staten Island, I could see you as a bartender. Back behind the bar, entertaining folks with some stories.
Oh, the worst part, they're all true.
Kind of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For folks who don't know, first of all, it's Valet, right?
Right, Valet. Valet, yeah. Because the old timers told me. Because Valet, they park cars. We sat horses.
Yeah. And so if folks look at that and think that's not the pronunciation, it is the pronunciation, valet. And for folks who don't know, tell us what a valet does. I don't think people are as plugged in. You guys are kind of behind the scenes, but you're an important part of the daily program.
Yes. Our job is to ensure that the proper weights go on the horses. and also to assist the trainers in saddling. And if by any chance a horse comes back light, we'll say, listen, nobody touched the saddle. Nobody touches the saddle from the time we leave the jockey's room until after the jockey weighs in after the race. And then also we have like a private business that we can take care of the jockey's equipment. And I was fortunate enough to work for some good guys through the years. And but the day goes. The other day I'm sitting in the stands. I said, man, there's a lot of time in between races. When you're working, you just keep going. Like when they say check for the first, you don't stop till after the last.
That's funny. If you're in the middle of the day, you don't realize, but you're sitting up in the stands. Oh, there's a lot of, but you're going all, because I've been back in the jocks room seeing you guys go. So you're the one that's actually putting, if weight is needed, you're putting it in the saddle.
Well, because every jockey, the weight's a little different. Their saddles are more, so you have to take saddle, either small saddle or big saddle, put weights in it to have the correct weight.
And again, you will sometimes help the trainers saddle the horse and whatnot. You guys are out there helping unsaddle also. But have you ever saddled some prominent horses?
Oh, Go for Wand, Holy Bull, Justified. A whole bunch of them.
And talk about some of the jockeys you've been involved with.
I've been very fortunate. I worked for Gene Kruger, Chris McCarron, Mike Smith, Mike Luzzy, Lane Luzzy, Rajiv Mirage, three Mirages, Romero, who's riding now, Frankie Dettori, Willie Carson, and the Jump Riders. I worked for Blythe Miller.
Oh, okay.
And Parker Hendrickson. He just got hurt, so he's retired. But a lot of good riders, and they're all good people. Corey Nakatani, they're just so nice, and they become part of your family.
Yeah, well, reading, it seems like Mike Smith is you were really tied in with Mike.
Well, 35 years.
Yeah. And for folks who don't know, he used to ride up here. He was a regular on the NYRA circuit for years before he went out to California. He kind of had an injury, and then things slowed down for him here, and he went out there and has had a great career.
That was in 1998.
Yeah, that had to
my father passed away. He won to Travis, and then 2 days later he fell and broke his back.
Yeah.
And then he was out for 6 months.
Yeah, and then business kind of slowed up.
Yeah,
he went out there at a time when it was tough to go out there. There was a time when that colony out there you couldn't, because Angel tried going out there. Didn't last that. It was tough, but Mike went out there. He went out there and handled the trip. Talk about how you started your career. You sat down. When you sat down, you said as a kid you were with the Whitecaps, and how'd you progress on to becoming a valet?
My father had a part-time job as a Pinkerton. So when I was a kid, I used to come up here with him, and I started working as a Whitecap when I was 16. At the last 2 weeks, because everybody was going back to school, so I filled in. And then for like 3 years, I used to work weekends and stuff, and then I came up here. I actually rang the bell 1 year, So, and then I ended up being Louis Ole's assistant in the color room. And then just one thing led to another.
Oh,
then I became a valet.
I was reading that last night. For folks who don't know, what is the color? If you're the color man.
Yes, he's in charge of all the silks. And he was the best. I mean, there's over 5,000 sets of silks in there. You go ask him for one, boom, he'd run and get it. He was tremendous. And he taught me a lot about that. And then I moved into the jockey's room, and all the old timers to kind of teach you what to do and how to do stuff and just take off.
Yeah. And, just give us a little overview of the career and reflect back on almost 50 years here at the New York Racing Association.
Well, the game has changed.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's this town has changed, and it's so nice. I mean, you look forward to it all year long. Maybe it's too many days now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I remember the 1 year we ran 28 days straight because there were so many cancellations.
Yeah.
And that in the old jocks room. And like I said, we're like a family. Everybody gets along. Everything's good. But the jocks room was about the size of this tent. There was fights going left and right. And being a little bigger than them, I ended up being a referee. At the end of the day, everything's good.
That's interesting. And you see him all the time, obviously being a valet. And talk a little bit about that because, in most sport, football, they have separate locker rooms. They go out on the field and they're fierce rivals. But these guys have to be fierce rivals out here on the track. But then they have to all get together in Jockey's room and kind of live together.
Right. And also, besides that, each other's lives are in the other's hands, because a guy gets in trouble and, you know he's in trouble. So you got to help him. Yeah. And it might cost yourself the race. Yeah. But you saved him. And, I've seen my share of these guys getting hurt and, some bad ones.
Yeah. And so they have to, again, go back into the jocks room and kind of.
Yeah. They sort it out. They'll say, man, what happened there? And they usually explain themselves and they're okay.
Yeah. You have to, because you have to live with the guy the next day. And whenever I get, jockeys or trainers in here, I talk about how important it is to come up here to Saratoga and looking forward to Saratoga and whatnot. I'm assuming it's the same for all the employees, but people like you who are dealing with the jockeys every day and being a valet, I'm assuming throughout the career, you'd look forward to come up here to Saratoga.
You love it because, like I said, you get to see all your friends that you haven't seen during the year. All the fans, they love it up here. They get giving goggles to the kids. I mean, we do it too. I mean, the jockeys do most of it.
Yeah.
But I had a whole bunch of nieces and nephews, little kids yesterday. I said, boy, the benefits. I went in the jock's room and said, give me goggles. Not may I have it. So I went and gave them all to the kids, and they got but the kids love it.
Oh, yeah.
I've had people come up and say, can you give me a set of goggles? You gave me a set 30 years ago.
That's great. And I talk to the jocks about it a lot, but it's got to be the same for you as a valet. Walking from the jocks room out to the paddock and going through the crowd, that's got to be a totally different experience than the downstate tracks.
Oh, sure. And I know at one time they were talking about changing it, but no, the jocks like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to get back into the room, get a drink and change and get ready, but the fan interact in all the pitches, and these jocks are so nice. They'll stop and take a picture with everybody.
No, at some point they were talking about putting the jocks room like over the saddling area in the paddock. I thought, you don't want to do that.
No, you want, the jocks enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time consuming, and it's the same with us. You walk, and now they have that pad. Years ago, they didn't have the pad. So you just walk through the crowd, like after the race.
Speaking of that, let me ask you, because I was just talking to somebody the other day, and it was kind of when I started coming to the races, and so I remember it, but it was a while ago. There was no fence around the paddock. They had the numbered trees.
Around the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we had a horse one time was real bad, and all of a sudden was sat on. This little kid walked up behind him. He said, like, "Oh no." Horse never moved.
And to think of that now, it's like, really? But
yeah.
That was a thing, folks. And as I say, with the 49 years under your belt, I knew you'd remember that. And, you alluded to it a little bit, but clearly things have changed. And I give them credit. I think the 1863 Club was a good addition.
Yes.
The area at the top of the stretch, what they upgraded, those seats most of the season would not be filled. So I think they made some nice changes to bring the facility into the 21st century.
My daughter had some friends. They had the cabanas at the top of the stretch. So I walked out the other day, and it was very nice. They did a nice job. That 1863 is very good. They've really done a good job on that.
Got to make it a 21st century facility for folks who are expecting those kind of amenities. But it has changed quite a bit.
And as long as they don't ruin the backyard, that's the backyard. People love that.
Yeah. And again, Harry, I had to have you in here. I knew I had to have you in here, particularly after yesterday. When I saw you up in the press box a couple of times, I thought I got to get Harry over before the summer's over. And then after yesterday, because there was a party last night.
Yeah, at the Italian club on Oak Street.
Principessa,
yes.
Nice.
Very nice. They did a very good job. NYRA took care of it, and we probably had pushing 100 people there.
And again, the winner's circle yesterday was just incredible. And there, Harry, it was fun, and it was well deserved because you clearly have been a fixture here over the years, and as I say, I've seen you already a couple of times, so I expect we will.
Oh,
We'll miss you on a daily basis,
Yeah.
but I expect we will see you plenty over the
definitely.
next
But the
few.
one thing, I'm so fortunate that my son's in the business now. He's working for Sally Vans. My daughter loves the horses, but as I said yesterday and last night, I'll say it again today. The one person I have to thank is my wife, because she kept the family together.
Yeah. Always important to have the family involved, and appreciate your recognizing her and your son bouncing around the track for years. He was a production assistant over here, still in the game, and so that's fun to see too. Harry, really appreciate you stopping by today. I wanted to recognize the career, and as I say, I'm sure we will see you plenty in the future.
Yes. I'll make it every year, that's for sure, for a couple of weeks at least.
And if you're down in the Staten Island area, grab some pizza at Least Tavern. Look it up on Dave Portnoy. He was there. Oh, did he give it a good pizza review?
Oh,
excellent. All right, very good. Yeah. Harry Rice, again, 49 years on the NYRA circuit, a fixture, and knew I had to have him in here. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Cali Francois, and I see Howard Kravitz has arrived as well. All of that coming up. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Hey, if it's Saturday morning, it means Kali Francois. Good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Kind of an official friend of the show, and happy to be that.
I like that. Official friend of the show. I got to have buttons made up.
Then if we're talking buttons, then you and I need to have a conversation about how they're going to look, what size. So, that'll be a discussion for off air later.
I will readily offer any suggestions on design because my button may not be sartorially
I'd be curious to see what the first draft looks like.
Not only today, but I'll alert people that tomorrow you'll be in as well as our friend Steve Vick, who's normally in on Loose on the Lead on a Colonial this weekend. I think he hadn't quite decided, but he has a trip lined up for next week too. So likely back in next Sunday also, but tomorrow definitely. And folks should be alerted that you have cut-ins during the afternoon on Saturdays, checking out some of the horses in the paddock and giving some opinions there. So stay tuned to the network for that. But also bouncing around the backstretch a little bit and recording some interviews. We have a couple interviews coming up. Why don't you set things up with a look at maybe a runner that will be interesting a little bit later on in stakes action.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to start things off in the grade 2 Fazek Tipton, and I just got really curious about how Dylan Davis is going to be approaching this race here as he rides a horse that he's never been on before, and I just wanted to take a look. Let's go ahead and take an opinion of take a look at Dylan's opinion of what he's got for Evershed for Arnaud Delacour, 8-1 morning line. Okay, so we got the big boy behind you. Now for Americans, nothing shows up on his form. Can you give us a little bit of Dylan? He's going to be a bit of a price in this race, but he's coming off of a layoff, second off the layoff for Delacour. Usually it's a pretty good stat for Delacour. You've never ridden this horse before. How do you, just from a jock's perspective, how do you go about doing the homework? What kind of research do you do? What specifically are you looking for when you ride a horse for the first time that you've never seen before?
Yeah, so first off, hopefully he's run before, so he has, and we just go off replays, and we'll see how he runs his best performance, his best race, and then after that, we kind of look at the race and see where the pace is coming from, and see what's kind of what's in front of us, and then we go from there and just try to save as much ground as possible, 2 turns grass, and we just talk to the trainer and and then we go from there and we try to come on even terms. Yeah.
So Dylan, let's go a little bit over your mount, Evershed. Let's talk about this horse as a bit of an individual, what you've noticed off of the replays.
Yeah, so the rider, Centeno, he didn't really urge the horse out of there, Evershed. He just really just dropped the reins and just let him be where he wanted to be, and he just kind of gotten into his own rhythm. And then, I think that he gets along with him. He has 2 winners with him, so I think that's what we're going to try to do, just let him place himself where he wants to, and then just go from there.
Okay, perfect. Dylan, good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, this interview was early in the week. Dylan hadn't done too much deep diving on this one, so I helped him out a little bit. The dam was 4 for 5 in the money, so it's kind of the breeding kind of follows a little bit of the expectations. This one is a half sibling to Grade 1 winning Boehner, who won the Secretariat at Arlington Park. So we see the mental astuteness from this one. From the 2 to the 3-year-old year. This one, I still think got a little bit tired in that Colonial effort. Personally, I always love an Arnaud Delacour second off the layoff, routing on the turf. It's just something that in the Mid-Atlantic, I can continue to see success at. So this is, the horse just stood out in my mind. I think that, with the potential trip that this one is going to be getting, I think Dylan fits this one very well.
Very good. And also picked up an interview with Charlie Appleby, assistant. He's got a couple in the sword dancer. So curious to hear what you came up with there.
Yeah, of course, we've got to talk about the ship-ins that come in. They were over at Green Tree, kind of in there. It's kind of a little spa back there a spa within the spa for the horses.
Yeah, if folks
here.
Don't know, been back there for years, right behind us. They have their own training track with a great view, and it's some facility over there.
So the horses have been, and you'll see Nations Parade actually has worked over here on the Saratoga turf, but El Cordoba is also here. They spent their time training on the main track. They didn't use their own private track, which I thought was a good thing. I talked with Christopher Collette, who shipped in over. He's assistant for Charlie Appleby. We're going to cover both of these runners here in the Sword Dancer Grade 1. Okay, so we got the big boy behind you. Now for Americans, nothing shows up on his form. Can you give us a little bit of just a quick synopsis of this guy, why you entered here, what's his form like been back at home?
He's had 3 runs back in the UK this year. He ran at the last time out was at Newmarket. He won a Grade 2 there, which was a step up in his form line anyway. He'd ran a couple of times in grade 3s before that at Sandown and at York over a slightly further trip of 1.6 miles. So dropping back to 1.5 miles, that's where he won his grade 2 at Newmarket. And it's kind of Charlie thought this was the next kind of progressive step for him to go forward.
Now, what kind of trip does this guy need, and how likely do you see that trip happening here for Saturday?
He's pretty versatile. He's gone from the front before, and but I'd say probably his better runs have come with a little bit of cover. So if he can jump positively and maybe kind of box seat going into the first turn, we'd be very happy with that.
Now let's tuck into Nation's Pride, who is off screen right now, but let's just a bit of a prolific guy here, 3-1 on the morning line, and rightfully so. Talk a little bit just from Meydan. He's coming off of the layoff. Give us an update on how that guy's doing.
Nation's Pride, he's in fantastic form. He obviously had the running down in Florida in the Pegasus, which didn't quite go to plan there in January, but he bounced back and won Singspiel, I believe, in Dubai. So that was a nice show of what he can actually do. World Cup night, things didn't quite go to plan. He's been freshened up, and he's getting ridden out by 6-time champion jockey Karen Fallon at the moment, and he's fantastic at sweetening up these slightly older horses. And yeah, we couldn't be happier with him.
Perfect. Now he's going to kind of be a little bit more aggressive, a bit more of an aggressive approach, would you say, for this race?
His last few starts, he's been, you might say, a little slow out the gates, but I think stepping up to 1.5 miles, that might just suit. He can jump and just ease into the race, and we've got Will Buick on him, and he knows him really well, and he's a top jockey, and he'll find his place.
You're hoping some of these American horses are going to outbreak him and give him a nice little trip that way. Am I reckoning right?
Hopefully there'll be a little pace in the race. We wouldn't want it to be a hack round anyway.
Circle back to the fact that he is coming off the layoff, and this is kind of a little bit of the same setup as Pegasus. What makes coming into this race, shipping into America a bit off the layoff, different than the Pegasus go?
To be fair, he'd had a pretty long year last year, and then had a bit of a break. And like when Charlie's horses are back in the UK through the winter, can't always have them 100% going there. But like I say, we're very happy with him, and Kieran, who rides him every day, he's given us a lot of positive vibes. And if someone like that's giving you positive vibes, you gotta be happy.
And I think that's all we need. Best of luck this weekend with these two superstars behind you.
Thank you very much.
Yay!
I commended you on the shot selection there, as El Cordobas was grazing in the background, and sometimes everything comes together.
It does. You, like I said, Green Tree, beautiful there. You've got to get that shot over at Green Tree. A Nation's Pride was just to the left of the screen. I felt I didn't want to get in Chris's way. He's doing such a good job in the interview. I didn't get the shot of him, but Kieran Fallon getting on Nation's Pride and just giving kind of that tout of this guy is coming back good off the layoff, and I think that's kind of one of the biggest things. Off screen talking to these guys, they're very, very high on Nation's Pride here.
I didn't know what to do with Nation's Pride, and we'll get to that in a second. So that scares me that's what they're thinking.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Let's take a look at the two stakes coming up today. We'll kick things off in the Saratoga Oaks, and I pulled up a replay of the Belmont Oaks because I like Opulent Restraint. Opulent Restraint is going to run third here as the 2-horse. Fion runs the winning effort. The number 5 Nitrogen runs well. Number 7 Nitrogen. Mark Cassie still looking at the Alabama for that one. But again, the number 5 gets it done. Number 2 Opulent Restraint though makes a run to come up to third, or gets the third on the front end, and then the other two just kind of go by a little bit. But given that, I went with Opulent Restraint. I put Laura Lynn in second, undefeated, and gets a little bit of a test today as well. And Go-Go Boots coming in from Europe. I thought the whole race was kind of interesting with some up-and-comers potentially on the 3-year-old filly turf stakes scene. How did you see the field in the Saratoga Oaks?
This is an extremely difficult race, especially when you consider, just kind of the timeline that a lot of these ones are at. Opulent Restraint, you noticed in that replay, she fought back very, very well. My only concern is that she's kind of, while we've seen her be successful just sitting back off of it a little bit more, the problem is she draws that inside post, and she's kind of susceptible to go for that front running position again. Talking about Go-Go Boots, wanted to touch, a little bit on the Bobby Flay horse. I think that, with this horse coming over from Epsom and York, I really think that, just having a bit of a technical issue on my end, this one, a lot, a good fourth at Royal Ascot, just an improvement in attitude. I also want to discuss how Miguel really dotted his I's and crossed his T's when it comes to the gate situation over here in the States versus over in Europe. They get a little bit tighter here. They have a starter in there. So just watched a little bit of footage via the Blood Horse. Excellent job on their part of this one breaking out. And she's also going on a turn versus a straightaway now. And I think coming back to that York effort, she was on the rail. She kind of had to bully her way through, and she was all heart, but she just didn't have that extra spark to really make something off of it, which makes me kind of lean towards the fact that I think she's going to be a cruiser a little bit in this spot, which I kind of like for her. Laura Lynn, you can't argue with. She just knows how to win. Even if she's not bred for it, her grit is going to take her all the way as far as distance here. But luckily, actually, there is some breeding. The Dam won going a little bit over 2 miles in her fourth start and her first and only win. She took early command and went with it. So a bit different here than what her bottom breeding suggests. I like that. Sino more. I ran into Brendan after that Hilltop run, and he just said, I just didn't have this one tight enough going in. So, and it's tough because, the second and third place horses slightly regressed after those efforts. So, but I just, the Dam was a half to Precious Passion, who's a multiple grade 1, 2, 3 winner over these longer distances. The bottom breeding suggests we have this one coming third off the layoff for Brendan Walsh. I think this one is very, very trustworthy here for the number 2 at a price of 8-1 morning line. That may change up a little bit there, Seth.
Yeah, with IROD on board, 8-1 would be, it's a fun race, certainly. All right, let's take a look at the Sword Dancer Grade 1 event. $750,000 up for grabs. I'm going to go with Farbridge. We showed a replay over the past couple of days of that win in the Bowling Green. And I've said I was down Florida Derby weekend when he won the stake, and Miguel was in the winner's circle and kind of mapped out where Farbridge would, and they kind of stayed to the program and done so very successfully. So I have Farbridge on top, but I did want to pull up a replay of that Prince of Wales' stakes, the Group 2 in the latest effort for El Cordobes of the Charles Applebys. That's the one I went with. I didn't know what to do with Nation's Pride. I left that one out. Now, from what you're saying, the connection said I'm a little leery. Rebel Red for Cherie DeVoe, I think, is interesting. Your thoughts on the Sword Dancer?
Yeah, I mean, so when we're talking about El Cordobes, it ran over that, this is winning over this distance, and that's, I think, is the most important thing here. Those grade 3s prior at Sandown and York over slightly longer trips, 1 3/4 miles, he can essentially, Chris kind of said, he essentially can run anywhere, and they're hoping he's going to be getting that kind of protected box trip, so they don't expect them to really kind of go out for it here. He's going to be making a progressive step forward here. Obviously, with what we saw on screen there in the interview, he looks like $1 million here. Let's kind of recap Nation's Pride a little bit. When we're talking about this one coming off of a layoff, coming over to America, we immediately look at that Pegasus World, Turf Cup and say, are we going to be getting the same type of situation? Now, talking to Chris, he said, that was a bit of a different situation. All of 2024, really, really tough campaign. Then he goes to the winter at, in Appleby's Yard in England, where it's hard to keep a horse totally 100% there. So coming over from England down to Miami and just kind of, and not getting the best of trips, he had an excuse at Maidan last time out. So they kind of brought him back to England and really just kind of got him back on ground base. So this is a different type of layoff coming back into the States that we're going to be getting here. So you can expect Nation's Pride to run like that proper 3-1 morning line that he's set at.
Again, I may kick myself afterwards. I left him off. I just didn't know what to do with him here as a 6-year-old coming off that last race in Dubai. The kind of prep for that in Dubai was very good, though. It's, And now everything you're saying is making me feel bad.
It don't feel bad because you know you got a couple of hours to make a couple of changes. That's the beauty of a morning show.
And horse racing. We said it on the handicapping show earlier. You got to be ready to switch things up. You can't get married, hours before the race. Kali, as always, appreciate the visit, and you're bouncing around the backstretch and getting some good content there. And we'll tune in this afternoon for your cut-ins, the later races with some paddock commentary, and look forward to you stepping in for Steve Vick tomorrow on Loose on the Lead.
Well, thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing and just being there for you guys for the afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Howard Kravitz, HHH Racing Podcast. We'll get some of his thoughts for this afternoon. We'll also take a look at the Arlington Million with Howard. All of that right after this. Stay tuned. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number one choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on a Saturday morning. Saturday means nice stakes action, not only here, but around the country. And that today includes the Arlington Million. We'll talk about that a little bit, but also some action here today with our friend Howard Kravitz from the HHH Racing Podcast. We had him a little earlier in the meet, but he makes a second visit to Saratoga. Howard, good morning.
Morning. How you doing, Seth?
Very good. Happy
Wonderful.
to have you on board. And I had Rich Cristiano in yesterday from Adelphi, the Adelphi Racing Club, and I said to him, they're looking for a Wednesday race for Gem Mint 10. I said, you going to ask Howard to stay in town a little longer as the lucky charm?
I wish. I saw Gem, at the stable there. gave me a little. He loves to snuggle. He's a really lovable. I asked Matt Cutera of Adelphi if I could take him home and if he'd fit in the overhead compartment of the airplane. He said probably not. But yeah, hopefully Gem and 10 will win for Adelphi Wednesday.
You have been the lucky charm for them over the past couple of years. They have Panda Gate tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the return of Panda Gate because one of the partner groups on the rise again, they're Amsterdam people where I grew up, and I know those connections as well. So rooting for the whole team with Panda Gate tomorrow. But also, I pulled up from your Twitter feed. I visited you guys yesterday. I'll talk about that first. Gazebo out in front of the 1863. You guys were set up nicely.
Oh, I mean, we're taken care of. Hats off to NYRA Benson, especially Donnie Nelson, who just is a gem of a guy. Speaking of Gem and 10, takes care of us every time we're here. That gazebo off the 1863
nice.
is really, it's a fun setup. We also had to have a gazebo in the paddock area too. So yeah, hats off to Donnie Nelson. We also brought my good friend Matt his favorite movie popcorn as well. Which that pretty much made. I don't think Matt cares about the contest today. All he got his movie popcorn in yesterday. He's all good.
I saw that on Twitter as well. The guys just put up the shot I was going to get to, but we can get to that now. You got a crew coming up here. You're on the backstretch with Junior. There's also a shot of Sovereignty. But, the HHH podcast crew coming up to Saratoga has grown.
Yeah, it's a family. We really are a family. That's how I treat everyone. That's how we all feel about each other. There's about 2 or 3 people in that picture that have never been on the backside, actually. And a few people have never been to Saratoga also in that picture. So, yeah, we're growing every year. We like to bring up people and have them experience Saratoga. And Junior is just a really nice guy and gave us some time. And he talked to me about a horse in the million at Colonial that we can talk about later, too. That he's riding. He's not here. He's not here today.
All right. And let's get to before we get to it, just set up because I think I have some graphics as well of your website, the power plays. And, the mainstay, the HHH Racing Podcast, which, again, I have touted plenty. I sit at my desk at night and handicap, and I'll pull you guys up a lot. So, again, just tout the podcast and when and where people can find them and talk a little bit also about the very successful and a great job you guys do with the power plays as well.
Yeah, thanks. Our power pick tip sheet is very popular. People can go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, for all the information. But we're on YouTube with all of our live shows. We have tape shows once in a while as well, but YouTube shows are mainly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. We shifted our Wednesday to late Thursday because it's Del Mar and those PPs don't come out until later. So right now we're Tuesday and Thursday nights on YouTube, usually around 8 p.m. Eastern. They can go to YouTube and type in HHH Racing Podcast in the search bar. And our power pick tip sheet, very inexpensive, very profitable. Go to our website, HHHRacingPodcast.com for that.
Matt Miller, who was sitting in the green room watching, was on yesterday, and he gave you guys a good push when he said Paul Halloran had power picks out yesterday, and he liked the 2-horse, I think it was in the 4th race, Valenzen Day, who scores.
Yes.
So Matt touted that one and touted it via, crediting Paul with the pick on the power picks. So, and I look at the power picks every week, and you guys do a great job with those. I mean, there's extra information. You have some horses you really highlight, and it's always gives, again, a good little head start to the day, perhaps, for folks. And we'll see if we can give a good head start to the day.
Hopefully
today, taking a look at some of the action here at Saratoga. And when you sat down, I said, which race do you want to look at? And one of them, race 4. And I said, perfect. It's my dark horse play of the day. So I wanted to see where the minds were meeting or not. In the 4th, I had it 5, 9, 4, and 2. And my dark horse play today was Jurisprudence. I think White Palomino for Chad is going to take action off what we saw last year in some stakes action. But Jurisprudence in the 3rd start of the season, getting back to the turf with, I think some improvement can be expected. I went with that one at an 8-1 morning line with Irad and Chad. I'm not sure we'll get the price, but I think we'll get a little bit of value. What did you see in race 4?
Well, my first question is, do you like pancakes and or sesame seed bagels?
Pancakes I'm all about. Yeah.
Okay, well, then you might want to, this race has Pancake House is the 8, and the number 1 is Sesame Seed Bagel. So all you breakfast fans out there might want to play the 1 and the 8. I'm not going to do that. Full disclosure, I did not know that the number 5 Jurisprudence was Seth's dark horse play of the day. I like this horse a lot. I think the reason why David Aragona put him at 8 to 1 is because he looks so light on the figs, but his first turf race at Laurel, he was wide on both turns. And if you're a believer of Craig Mulkowski and the time form numbers, They absolutely fit. Totally agree with you. Toss out the slot. Didn't want that. And that was against Unlimited Potential, by the way. He was a very nice horse anyway. It's the other Chad. I think we're getting 9-2, I think, somewhere around there. And White Palomino, the 4, can win. I mean, Chad won off of, a 2.5-year layoff in the last race yesterday.
That was my top pick, and I'll ask you if you had the same feeling. There was no point where I thought he was going to win that race until that last stride. It was 10 yards from the wire. I thought he had no shot.
Well, that's what people were thinking and hoping in our group. I didn't say anything because I've seen too much go on in horse racing. But anyway, White Palomino, the works are not great. I'm against him in general. And I like your 9 also. Common Defense, who was another price at 6-1 for McPeak, was in the slop. It wanted to be. It was rained off the turf. It's got some turf breeding. I just don't love the morning line lower prices in that race. I'm going to go a little price shopping, but I like jurisprudence. Excuse me.
Yeah,
we got a great trip there.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you're backing me up on my dark horse because I have been in the bridal party with the dark horse this week. I need another winner, so hoping that can be the case. In the 5th race today, I went 5, the 1 entry 4, and 7. I went with Great Richie M on top. Off the claim for Rob Atris. Moves up off the claim, which isn't something I necessarily like, but from 16 to 20, that's not anything to be concerned about. Amundsen and Looms Boldly, the entry. I'm sure Pete Fornatal will be all over Looms Boldly, but I think both halves of the entry are a little bit intriguing. What did you see in the 5th?
Yeah, we love PTF and 10 Strike Racing, and we wish them well. I don't love the entry in this spot, and I promise Seth and I did not talk before the show, ladies and gentlemen. I think Richie M is a great call here for Atris. I think 20, stepping up a little bit in class, but not a lot. Has a lot of back numbers that fit, should sit off the pace, turns back, IRAD. There's like 6 things I like other than maybe the price. I wouldn't toss out the 4 in that race either, Forgiving Spirit, because this is one of the few horses that can pass horses in this race. And he's not a closer, but he doesn't need the lead. And there feels like there's a lot of need the lead type. So I'm 4-5-1 in there. I'm going to try to beat the entry.
Yeah, we got the same. I have it 5-1-4, so we're in the same ballpark in that one. All right, let's move on to race number 8 this afternoon. We're looking at optional claimers with the C condition. And from the handicapping show earlier, I think there was 1 in here for the tag surveillance. Other than that, others in for the condition at 6 furlongs. I put Damon's Mound on top for Bill Mott, steps out of Stakes Company and may appreciate the class move, but like the way from Linda Rice at 8-1, intriguing. Little Nye or Little Knee, Nova Regs in my mix. What did you see in the 8th?
Yeah, I think the 4 and 5 are scratched, by the way. Scratches are available on NYRA Bets about half an hour ago or 20 minutes ago they came out. Yeah, I chased Little Knee last time off the layoff, and I thought he ran huge against Concrete Glory, who can run big races at times. Yeah. Actually, I was here that weekend, Seth, and played Little Knee. Remember that first weekend of the meet, of the official meet, there was rained off the turf, and it wasn't great weather, and the Little Knee ran huge. I just love outside stalking speed, and if the 1 goes, fine. Little Knee can sit off that. Damon's Mound is my second choice. Saw Damon's Mound in the Mott Barn when we visited Sovereignty, who, by the way, worked this morning. Worked well, apparently. So I like Little Knee there. I'm a little against Surveillance. He's 8. He takes, at some point, he's going to not start running as well. I love Carmouche and Linda, but I'm against Surveillance, the 8 there on the outside. I'm going to go Little Knee. I have 6-2 in that race.
All right. I like it. And we'll move on now to stake section, the Saratoga Derby. I went with Opulent Restraint, showed the replay earlier of the Belmont Oaks, and, Nitrogen, a legit horse from Cassie. So no disgrace there, being close up to that one. Fionn ran a big race to win. Opulent Restraint was right there late. I'm a little concerned about the distance, obviously, off of that, but it's Chad Brown is going so well. So I went there. Laurelin, undefeated. Go Boots coming in for Europe from Europe for Bobby Flay and Miguel Clement. Totally justified, could be interesting. The other 2 I could make a little bit of a case for as well. 6-horse field, and I don't think they're necessarily stellar. I think they're potentially up-and-comers, but it's a competitive bunch.
So I talked to Miguel Clement yesterday morning. Should I give a little intel for the viewers out there? I think we should. Clement's listed as the trainer, but really this horse has come to America very recently, and the Clements have basically just been taking care of the horse. They haven't really been training aggressively with her.
Okay.
So in fact, he said, I'm quoting Miguel, I know he wouldn't mind me saying this because he's having an unbelievable meet and he's a very humble guy. He said, if Go Boots wins, all credit should go to the Gosdens. Yeah, but we know that Miguel is an excellent trainer anyway. I mean, do these Americans want this distance? I don't.
Yeah,
Opulent
fair.
Restraint did go a mile and an eighth and was a relatively quick pace. So I think I don't see a reason why she can't get the distance. The big question is Laura Lynn, right? I mean, Grand Motion said that he thinks she can get the distance without a problem, but she just hasn't faced much. And I don't want to bet someone that low, without getting the distance. Go-Go Boots is not a superstar, Seth. I just want to make that clear. Anyone who's, be following and listening our picks. But, she gets the distance. The Gosens are not going to send her over for blanks and giggles.
Yeah.
It's Jose Ortiz and Bobby Flay. I think if she's relatively up close, like if she breaks okay and she's not 8 or 9 back, I like Go-Go Boots in this spot. I'm against Laura Lynn, mainly because of the price and the distance questions. I'm going 3-1-6.
Yeah, I said earlier, Laura Lynn gets tested. Won a mile and a 16th in the debut, did okay, but the other 300-mile races, the Penn Oaks rescheduled twice, I believe, and I'm not sure what she was facing there, but she's undefeated for Grand Motion. It's as I say, interesting race.
Absolutely.
Sword Dancer this afternoon, Grade 1 action, $750,000, a mile and a half on the grass. I couldn't get past Farbridge. Again, they've kept up with the schedule they've set for this one throughout the year and done so pretty successfully. But El Cordobas for Charlie Appleby off the win last time, the Group 2, I think is very dangerous, and I used that one. I didn't know what to do with Nation's Pride, but when Kali was in earlier, she had a taped interview with the assistant to Charlie Appleby, and they seem like they're high on Nation's Pride, so I may have to switch things up a little bit. But what did you see in the Sword Dancer?
Yeah, this is tricky because Nation's Pride is ridden, of course, by Buick. He chose that over the number 1 El Cordobas, and you'd automatically think, okay, then you want to go Nation's Pride. Nation's Pride has some questions to answer here to me. And El Cordobas is the one that's stepping up in class, but is in really good form. I have a feeling they're going to go forward from the rail if he breaks. Won a Group 2 last time, keeps getting better. I mean, Appleby could send 20 horses over here, right? So I think he chooses this one. By the talk in the town, I feel like El Cordobas is going to be the second choice at 5-2 or something, based on what people are saying. I'm going to pick him on top. It's a soft pick. Farbridge absolutely can win. Nation's Pride, I'm a little bit against. 2 other horses very quickly. El Razine, when I was on the show a month ago, I talked about this horse, but the turf came up yielding. I'm not sure he wanted that. He stayed on well. I know it was only a 4-horse field. He was closing on Farbridge a little bit at the end. I think El Razine is the price that you want. Number 7 there in today's the Sword Dancer. And then I have to give a shout out to Vote No for Kwanzaa Racing. Our great friend and host of Ben Booz and Kyle Roscoe is a very small piece of Vote No, and Tony Rallo and the Crownsway guys are here. I don't think Vote No is like completely impossible. Other than Farbridge, Seth, a lot of the numbers of these horses are relatively similar, and Vote No is only 4. So I'm cheering for Vote No, but my pocketbook will probably be on the number 1, El Cordobas, maybe a little 7 on the side.
Yeah, it's again interesting race there. And speaking of turf racing, big Grade 1 turf racing. When I talked to you yesterday, I said, have you looked at the Arlington Million? You said, I have. And I said, well, let's talk about that. Give us a good chance to mention the Arlington Million down at Colonial this afternoon. First, I will let you rant a little bit. When you sat there, you said Matt Miller said he was going to call me out for calling it the Arlington Million. You're a Chicago guy. I will let you rant about the Arlington. And my co-host on the morning show, Anthony Mormino, the last year of Arlington, made a visit out there. I never had the chance, but he raves about the place. And it seems like a facility that just ended before its time, particularly given the situation that subsequently played out. And as a Chicago guy, I'm sure it hurts.
It did. Well, I mean, shockingly enough, in Illinois, politics were involved, of course. Now, I'm not going to, it's past history, but Arlington was a great place. I have a lot of friends at Churchill Downs and Twin Spires, and it was a corporate decision. It is what it is. But Arlington, it was a fantastic place. But Junior Alvarado, who's riding the number 6, Fort Washington today at Colonial, I spoke with him as we saw the picture. He's very excited. He's never won a million. I'll call it the million. He's never won the million. Thumbs up from
generic
Miller there in the green room. I didn't know you had a green room. It's very nice, by the way.
It's all
Junior's very excited to be at Colonial today. He wants to get his first million. He told me he wishes at Arlington. Of course, that's where he cut his teeth. But Fort Washington, to me, the other Shug McGahee, because he's got integration, to me is very interesting. There's actually a decent amount of pace in the race. Integration has just disappointed me too many times. He's a nice horse, and good luck to my friends at West Point Thoroughbreds. But I'm going to go a little bit of a price with Fort Washington to come over the top for a junior in the million.
All right. I had Joe Bianca from West Point on yesterday, and he was saying, and it's true, because I've talked to other West Point guys, a horse, there isn't a horse more deserving at a grade 1 than Integration, who has been right there, including that Manhattan last time where it just missed behind Deterministic, who subsequently came back and flattered the performance with
Absolutely.
another grade 1 up here last week. So Integration's interesting. The interesting horse clearly is Mystic Dan, though, trying the grass for Kenny McPeak.
I wish the connections well. I don't see it, but I wish them well. It's a fascinating entry. I'm not sure there's been a Derby winner ever to run in the million. I'd have to. I should know that. That's
Mormino,
a co-host fail. I should look that up.
According to Mormino having the notebook in the head, he said Gatto del Sol.
Okay, there you go.
So, but
good job, Anthony.
You couldn't prove it by me, but I'm trusting him because, again, he has the Rain Man kind of memory of horse racing. Fascinating edition, though, of the Arlington Million with Integration, the other, as you say, Shug, and the Derby winner in there as well. It's scheduled to go off just about 6 o'clock today. Howard, as always, appreciate the visit. Oh, and I mentioned, we talked about it with Matt a little bit. I assume you're in town. You're going to play contest today.
Playing the NYRA contest today. And also, we have a meet and greet at the Jim Dandy Bar. Today is Saratoga, noon to 12:30. About an hour from now, if you're here in Saratoga, come and meet myself, Matt Miller, Patrick Kunzel, Kyle Roscoe, a bunch of other people. Jim Dandy Bar, 12 to 12:30. We'd love to say hello before race 1 starts at 12:35.
Definitely. If you watch the podcast, you definitely want to plug into that. And again, the Jim Dandy Bar, if you're not familiar, about the middle of the whole facility, out in the back of the facility on the ground floor. You'll see it used to be the carousel, so it has that round area. But you can pop. Oh, no, I'm talking 4-Star Dave. You said Jim Dandy Bar?
Jim Dandy Bar.
Jim Dandy Bar, bottom floor of the clubhouse.
Right.
Even easier to find.
Yes.
Right at the bottom floor of the clubhouse, where a lot of folks watch the TV before the races. So I'll swing by. I'll say hello.
All right, terrific.
Because
Nice.
I walk right by on my way up to the press box every day. But stop by and say hello. And if you're not yet a viewer or listener of the HHH Racing Podcast, again, highly recommended. You're doing some live stuff now, too, as far as live
We are
handicapping during the races.
We're gonna be live from the gazebo on the first turn, 4 to about 6 o'clock. So go to YouTube and just HHH Racing Podcast live show from right here, 4 to 6 from the first turn gazebo.
Excellent. Howard, appreciate the visit. Good luck in the contest.
Thanks. Crush your bets, everyone.
All right, we'll wrap things up. I'm being told the NYRA pregame show is about to fire up, so we'll send you out in that direction with an early post time today. I think it's 12:30 today for the first post. So being like 12:35 actually first post today. So again, pregame show about to kick off. We'll send you to that, and I'll remind you before we leave that we're back in tomorrow. 9 o'clock handicapper support, 10 o'clock for Loose on the Lead. We'll see you then.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
12 and 13. Race 7, scratch 4, 8, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Late pick 5 starts with the 8. Scratch 4, Light the Way. Scratch 5, Squire Creek. 4 and 5 out of the 8th.